Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm Bonita. I live in Kansas and I am early retired. I just turned 60 this year and I'm living on a very low monthly income and I also have savings. I made the decision to retire a few years ago early and waited out until Social Security. I figure if I can manage on this low income, when my Social Security kicks in, it will seem like I have a lot of money. So I have a couple of years left to ride that out. But while I was looking at my numbers this morning, because my income was incredibly low for February, in fact, all of my YouTube has dropped so low because the advertisers pay a lot more during the last quarter of the year. I was still getting the same number of views, the same number of watch hours, but my income dropped substantially. And so I was thinking about all of the things that I have on my budget and thinking about how many things in life in general we buy and make decisions from based on fear. And maybe you haven't thought about this before. So this video is just to get your thoughts going on maybe what your budget looks like and what you are spending money on. And are some of those based on fear? Could you go without them? Do you absolutely need them? I go without a lot of things to live on my low income. And for me, the trade off was worth it because I was able to retire early by not having some of the normal expenses that everyone else has. And I figured I could ride it out until Social Security. I'm able to focus on my health more. While I am not working, I'm able to relax more. My stress level is down. And there's so many things that benefited me by choosing to retire early. But let's think about some of the things that we purchase based on fear. So I actually researched this just a little bit, and you may agree or not agree with some of these, and let me know in the comments. So psychologists suggest that us buying things out of fear is a way for us to take back control in uncertain environments. It's a way for us to manage our emotions and feel more secure. So we purchase things that we think will make us feel more secure and more prepared with the unknown. So some of those things are buying excessive supplies and backstocking. We saw that during the pandemic. We see that when there are big storm systems coming, how people will just buy way too much water, toilet paper, all of these supplies because they're worried there's not going to be any when they need it. And that panic shopping is actually done out of fear. And that is something that we don't really call it. We know it's panic shopping, but have we ever attributed it to it being purchased out of fear? Fear that they won't have it when we need it. I even saw a funny little short video that said everyone is saying they don't have money for food, but when there is a storm, their carts are piled high. So, where are they finding the money? So, a lot of times when we purchase things out of fear, we are also doing it on credit. There are a lot of things that are sold to us out of fear that have just become normal everyday purchases and part of our budgets. Some of those are extended warranties. We buy those based on the fact that we don't know what's going to happen with the item we purchased. Is it going to last? Is it going to break down? Is it going to cost us more to get it fixed? So sometimes we buy those extended warranties. We also buy specialized insurance like cancer insurance, accident insurance, health insurance, home insurance. There are endless types of insurance, even long-term care insurance. All of those are based on the fear of what is to come and not knowing what is to come and trying to be prepared. We even saw people buying things when the threat of tariffs was there. People were going out and stockpiling coffee and all of these things that they knew were going to be imported out of fear. Some people even keep backup appliances like an extra coffee pot or an extra blender or an extra mixer because they worry that theirs will break when they need it the most, or maybe they fear they won't be able to find it when they need it. A lot of things that people purchase without them realizing it is based on fear and trying to be prepared for the unknown. Even buying extra alcohol gel, face masks, medication, some of that can be purchased out of fear because we don't know if we're going to get sick or not, and we don't know if we'll be able to get out to get that when we get sick. Now, for many of us, some of these items are just considered being prepared, but overbuying or an overstocking and the reasons that we purchase things and how much we pay for them, sometimes those can be fear-based. Even security systems were listed as something that is purchased out of fear, fear that someone will break into our home, take our things, maybe our safety will be jeopardized. So a lot of people purchase those thinking they are prepared, but the underlying cause is really to make them feel more in control and not fearful. Panic buying is probably the largest fear-based purchases that a lot of people fall into. And it's good to have a buffer and to know what your family will use, but sometimes during panic shopping, people buy things that they don't even know how to use properly. Do we remember when they bought all of the dried beans and rice, and then a lot of people never even made dried beans and rice in their lifetime, and yet they had 25-pound bags that they were storing just in case. So this is a list of the predictable items that go off the shelves first when there is panic buying so that you can create a buffer in case you need one in your home. So one of the first things that disappears is when they think the grid might go down, they start going to ATMs and getting cash out in small bills. And they start trying to stockpile that in case they can't use their cards. Another thing is water and any bottled drinks. We saw that in the last storm, people with all kinds of 24 packs of water just heaped in their carts. Shelf stable supplies like canned and dried goods, milk, bread, eggs, and produce. And they say that is actually because if you are snowed in or you have an emergency, being able to make normal meals helps you feel like you have more control over the situation. So a lot of people like to have those normal items in their home so that they can continue as usual. Snacks and convenience goods is another thing that disappears right away. And I even saw some small videos when the last snowstorm hit saying, I'm 12 hours in, I've eaten all of my snacks, what do I do? So there is some comedy to the fact that people went out and just bought a whole bunch of convenience foods to get through the snowstorm. Baby formula, baby food, diaper wipes, toilet paper, paper products like paper plates, paper towels, utensils. They want to have those in case their power goes out. Trash bags, because they want to make sure they can get their trash out of the house when and if the trash truck still shows up. They don't want all of that garbage in the house with them. People will even backstock in their gas cans, some diesel, some gasoline in case they can't get gas. Propane is another thing that people will backstock, as well as lamp oil, butane, and all of those specialty gases. Firewood, generators, batteries, those also get purchased right away because people want to be prepared and they are worried that they won't have what they need when that grid goes down. Lanterns, flashlights, fans, depending on the weather, and space heaters. The last snowstorm that we were predicted, the little heaters just flew off of the shelves because people wanted some sort of backup heat. However, if the power goes out, you can't use those little heaters anyway, unless they are a gas type of heater, which then again, I would caution to use those in a ventilated area. Candles are purchased so that they have light, and some of these other things take the place of having a candle, which I actually prefer the lamp oil instead of the candles because of all of the fragrance and allergies. Medications, including over the counter, kids' meds, prescription medicines, and hygiene supplies and cleaners also get purchased during panic shopping, as well as tarps, window covers, home repair items, pipe insulation, firearms, and ammo. Those are the top items that get purchased when there is some sort of an event. Sometimes it can just be a media story that can trigger all of this. Sometimes it can be a weather forecast. There can be so many reasons why people start grabbing all of a month's worth of items in one afternoon, and then the store shelves are bare. It's better to be prepared and have a buffer and have the things that you know you're going to need and not wait until something causes all of this panic shopping and then you are out there trying to get in a really long line with maybe one item. That happened to my daughters this last time. They both needed like one or two items, went to the store, and either the shelves were bare or the lines were so long, they were like, you know what? I don't need it this bad. So pick the categories that matter the most to you and create a small buffer on backstocking items, but also think about what matters the most to you when it comes to your budget so that you don't have to continue purchasing things that maybe are not that helpful to your budget or to your future. Maybe you're purchasing them because your family has always purchased this type of insurance, or your neighbors have this or that. Sometimes we purchase things based on what we think the norm is. But whatever the norm is something that you set. What you set is the norm that comes out of your budget. It's your decision on how you spend your money and whether or not you think some of these things are worth it or whether or not they are something you can eliminate from your budget. So you don't need to go into a bunker at this time, but you do need to look at what supplies you need in your home that are reasonable and what things that you purchase with your monthly income that is necessary. If you feel comfortable going without insurance for your house or for cancer or for accident, that is totally up to you. It is not a standard that everybody has to have all of those extra things coming out of their budget every month, but a lot of people feel more comfortable and protected by doing that. And sometimes those things are the things that keep us stuck. They keep us stuck financially. They keep us stuck long term. They keep us stuck working because people are fearful to stop working without that paycheck and not have all of those protections in place. So let me know, do you have anything in your budget that you feel like you budget for and you purchase based on fear? I just thought this was a really good talking point video to think about this, because in my life, I have not had a lot of those insurances. I grew up without them. In fact, my dad had a farm, and the only insurance he had on the farm was a $12 renewable policy that he had his whole life that he bought from some old newspaper ad, and the newspaper wasn't even in circulation anymore, and it was for liability insurance in case someone got on his property, fell and got hurt. He worried about that and paid $12 a year to lock in that price for that liability insurance. But I grew up without a lot of insurances and without a lot of extras. Money was tight. We were farmers. We didn't have a regular income because of that. So we had to budget very carefully. And based on where you're at financially and how you budget, some of these things may not seem like a necessity for you, but they may seem like a necessity for your neighbor. And I hear that a lot on a lot of my videos on how people can't stop working now because they need insurance or they need this or they need that. And they worry that they won't have that protection. Let me know your thoughts. I look forward to reading your comments. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you'll join me in the next video.